Welcome to episode 2, season 1. We're calling this the complete restart of our podcast, the Dirt Track Delegation. I'm Kelly Carlton. With us as always is Dave Dusick, Jason Babiak, and Greg, the man in black, Mary. He's got the best looking shirt on, by the way.
That's right.
He's the man in black. I can't see it. Might also be that giant bright light
No,
in my eye.
it's the wonderful Dirt Track Delegation golf dirt polo shirt that he has on, and it's beautiful as always.
It was his idea too. We give him credit for that.
Yeah, definitely his idea.
It's awesome. I have worn mine. Thank you very much. High quality piece of equipment right there. So let's get things started with hot laps. We'll go around the horn here, and we'll start with Dave.
So this is probably a deep conversation for hot laps, but I think one of the things that short track racing needs to start to contemplate is when you move from being a sporting event to an entertainment event. As streaming continues to take off, a lot of our shows are not adapting to that new audience online. And, I don't know about everybody else, but I don't want to sit in front of my computer for 5.5 hours, with 3 hours of track prep and 2 hours of support classes and 30 minutes of the show. So that's my hot topic. Is the industry adapting to the needs?
The Gateway Dirt Nationals. Jason.
My hot laps. Obviously, race promoting is all about the almighty dollar, making money. It's all about how much you bring in and how much you pay out. And one of the biggest ones that brings in a lot and doesn't pay out as much is coming up with us, the IMCA Super National. So it's awesome, man. They've just built that into something phenomenal that they will pack door to door, well over 1,000 race cars into Boone Speedway. They will race 18, 19, 20 hours a day if they have to. It's an epic event, and that's people just all I want to do is win the Super Nationals. I don't care what I get. I don't care what it pays. I'll give up a week of my life to do it. So kudos to them, and hopefully Mother Nature plays nice, and they have a good show.
Did you, that with all those cars, there are guys that win the Super Nats year after year. We actually supported the Super Nats, Racetrack Engineering did. We helped with timing and scoring about a decade ago. Of all the things we've done in our career, I'm telling you, Boone Super Nats is top 5 on the list. It's epic, yeah. If you've never been, you have to go. It is. We should do a DTD trip out there. It's
up there with the chili. It's up there with the Chili Bowl in terms of I just want to win it. So
yeah, I agree. We've done really we've done with Soda Super Nats. We've done INCA Super Nats. We've done all of those kind of league Super Nats, and there's nothing that compares to Boone. Sorry, Cal Carr, go ahead.
I was going to say the winners do get some really cool prizes.
Oh, for sure. 100% they do. But a lot of that, the prizes are obviously sponsor driven. So.
Yeah, for sure. All right, Greg, Mary, what you got?
Well, let's just fire it out there. Heat races, qualify and line up, or qualify, heat race, or qualify, heat race, passing points, or qualify, heat race, invert. All 4 are used in our industry today, and which one works best, which one just absolutely stinks. And I personally grew up in the day and age where you just pill drawed and heat race, but those days are gone for super late models and for the most part crates. But some of the lower divisions still pill draw and heat race for their stuff. And to be honest with you, a lot of times that's where the more exciting racing takes place is in the lower divisions when they're doing that. I understand the super late models wanting to just qualify and race straight up like that. I mean, it's what Lucas does, isn't it? They qualified and straight up heat race and straight up start out of the heat races. World Outlaws a little bit different, and that they qualify straight up heat race, but then they pill draw for the top 4 and then second 4. And then there are some events that, bigger events that use the passing points deal. Some have gotten away from that. Eldora uses passing points.
to me, that all goes back to kind of my question is,
Yeah.
are you keeping your show in mind? I'll say this, I would have never, when I saw it, I would have never believed it. But when I was at the Southern Thunder Super Dirt Series race at the beautiful Smoky Mountain Speedway a couple weeks back, Kel Carr, multi-car qualifying, number one, you should never do single car qualifying if you have transponders, right? Like, figure it out. Kel Carr can do it. Anybody can do it. He did qualifying into B, top X locked in and B mains, and you're ready to go. And I thought it was a really quick and smooth show. So that was a unique situation. What's your fave, Babiak?
I think it just kind of varies and stuff like that. Let's just keep the show moving. I mean, I like sometimes the passing points because it's going to give a chance at somebody who probably wouldn't make the race a chance to make the race. If they're not going to probably finish top 2 or 3 or 4 or something like that, if they happen to start in the trunk and pass a couple of cars, maybe they're going to find a way into a feature. So I think they all have pros and cons, but I'm a product of the Chris Kearns Presents era, which is go, go, go. Let's get this show on. Let's get the fans home. So
Yeah, agreed.
let's just whatever works and keep the show rolling and let's go.
Yeah. Kel Carr, you've done a lot. What of all the things you've done, what do you think? I know you're a big proponent of get in, get out. What's your fave?
I'm actually, my favorite is whatever works best for the racetrack in the region of the country that you're in, because it varies everywhere you go. For instance, up north, they're accustomed to seeing heat races and the whole entire show start to beginning. But we have to keep in mind there has to be a balance for the racers too. These super late model guys are talking about it costing anywhere from $400 to $600 per lap to run these race cars. So we got to be smart about that and try to keep that balance for the racers. When it's a 5,000 to win show versus a 10,000 to win show versus, whatever, that qualifies it for me. So I'm not going to say I have a favorite. Whatever is most efficient and works best for the racetrack is what I think we should do.
Yeah, that's a good point. And to your point, if it's a lower division where guys need track time, they should get track time. But at the upper divisions, I guess those guys don't want track time because it costs them money. To your point, for a 5,000 to win show.
Right. Yeah. It's, if you're running a 10,000 to win show or above that, certainly heat races make more sense, and they're getting a little more money out of the whole thing. Just balancing it out is kind of the key, I think. I'm gonna throw my headline out there, or my hot lap, and that's the passing of Forrest Lucas, and just wanted to, a guy who was invested millions with a S into this sport in many different ways. Obviously, Lucas Oil Speedway, for many years the MLRA series. He supported racers out the wazoo there. Had the off-road truck series, and of course the Lucas Oil Late Model Dirt series. Started their own production company. I mean, it was a really he spent a lot of money and obviously cared a lot about the sport. Had the good fortune to be able to give him. He was only the second recipient of the Baltus Member Award for the National Dirt Late Model Hall of Fame, and had the good fortune of being a part of that ceremony when he was given that. But Mr. Lucas was a down-to-earth guy, and as much money as he had, you never could tell that he was nothing more than just a racer in the room. So, just wanted to send thoughts and prayers out to Morgan and all of the family, the Lucas family, even, those that work for him, Rick Schwally and all the gang at Lucas Oil Late Model Dirt Series. I know they're certainly going to miss having his guidance, leadership around.
Yeah, for sure. You notice that all the guys that worked for Forrest, they all stuck around, right? Rob Klepper, Ken Stout, Schwally, everybody stuck around for a long time, and that says a lot about Forrest and the way they ran their companies. So 100%. You're right, definitely an icon that'll be missed.
Yeah, okay, guys, go ahead, Greg. I'm sorry.
I mean, yeah, we can start putting down a list of who's done what for the sport, and monetarily wise, I don't know that anyone's done more for the sport than what he did.
And that motorsports as a whole, not just dirt late model racing.
Yeah,
Motorsports
I mean,
as a whole.
yeah, you're right.
Yeah, if you go
Yeah,
across the board, they do everything. So yeah, without a doubt,
they're in it knee deep and all the way down, and that truly an icon in our sport, and will be missed. I mean, those Earl Pearson Jr. What do you think of when you think of Earl Pearson Jr.? You think of Lucas Oil on the front of that car. So
yeah, and there's thousands of race cars out there, not so yeah. Good call, Kelcar. Appreciate you bringing that up.
Yeah. Well, let's move into the next segment of the show. This is a topic that has been pretty hot lately, or roundabout. It's been hot. People talking about different things. So, our qualifying this week is all about is racing getting soft. What do you think, fellas?
I think I'll start off here. I think I'm the one that kind of might have shot this out, something like that. But I just the thing my analogy is we've gone from hard racing has become dirty racing, and that's my annoyance at this point. Like I said, I've never been behind the wheel of a car. I'm not a track official. I don't do the race directing like Kelly does and stuff like that. But I still understand a good hard slide drop. That's what makes race of the year. Slide drops back and forth and back and forth. And guess what? Sometimes they got to be a little bit hard. Sometimes you're going to put a fender into them. And it's unfortunate. I saw an article the other night about the slide job that Madden put on Ricky, and Ricky kind of gave him a little shot in the ass there. And he was just getting absolutely crucified. And I didn't think it was that, like Kelly said, he's like, he put himself at more risk than anybody. And I ended up just shooting Ricky a text the other night. We text for about 30, 45 minutes. And he's like, that's kind of where it's at. And he's like, people don't realize what's going on inside that car and stuff like that. Maybe he had to give him a little bit of shot, but like Kelly said, he put his own car at risk way more than Madden. So, but when did that become dirty? To me, that's just a good hard race. And the fact that now that's dirty and across the board, whether it's Davenport or Moran or, Bobby Pierce, any of those guys, it's all considered dirty now. And that just annoys me.
Yeah. Well, and I do think there's a line, though. There certainly is a line.
Oh, well, so we look at the Alberson Dillard deal. Okay. We're going to call that dirty.
And I really believe in my heart of hearts that it was a heat of the moment thing that happened. I certainly don't think that is a normal response that Cade Dillard would normally have had. I think it was just maybe a culmination of a couple of things and frustration, and just it all came to a head, and it was unfortunate. I appreciate that he was man enough to apologize and take the blame and move on down the road with it and keep rolling. I'll also will give a shout out and kudos to Rick Schwally and the staff with Lucas Oil for having the understanding that they needed to do something in order to send a message that this is not this is the line, and that's not really acceptable. So obviously it doesn't hurt Cade a ton because he wasn't a regular on the series, but still it should be it should still send a message that we just got to be smarter with what we're doing and not take those chances like that, because that had the potential to be really, really bad.
Yeah, I go ahead, Greg. I'm sorry.
Kelly knows this. I mean, I grew up. The guys I helped and sponsored, and hung around with. I mean, one of them was as easygoing and wouldn't put a fender to you if he had to, but he was going to win some races for you. But you were going to come home and you're not going to have a lot of work to do. His brother was the total opposite. I mean, I heard this the other night. It might have been on the XR race last night. He'd give you a bump in the rump and move on. I mean, if he was faster than you needed to get out of his way. And listen, I'm in the South. We have one groove racetrack, so we're accustomed to seeing a little bumping and banging, and that's the way you had to do it. But I mean, the Cade Dillard thing. Let's be honest. I mean, that was a little out of hand. I understand his frustration, You go back and watch, from Cedar Lake, and you see it, and it boiled over. It boiled over. Unfortunately for him, you don't boil it over with a 900 horsepower race car going into the back of somebody like that at full throttle. I mean, that's just not the way to handle that. But
and
it races. Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, to be fair, I do want to give him a slight benefit of the doubt in that things happen really fast at Batesville.
Right.
Batesville is so fast.
Sure.
And it was even faster that night maybe than normal. But I did add that in there. But I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, you're fine. I mean, but let's be honest. Every one of these guys have done it.
Oh,
every one of these
Well-
guys have been on the bad end of throwing a bad slide job, and they've all been on the receiving end of a bad slide. They've all been a part of it.
The other part of this is something we talk about when I work with stewards and we're doing instant replay for officiating on races where you make calls like this. You can't officiate the result, right? You've got to officiate the intent. The fact that what happened to Albertson and it looks spectacular is one thing, but you have to officiate what the cause and the intent, not the end result, right? If you hit a guy or you right hook him and he catches it and goes straight, or you hit a guy and you right hook him and he barrel rolls for 20 minutes, the intent is the same, and you've got to learn to officiate the intent. The problem we live in these days is everything's on tape, everything's on the internet, and so everybody responds to the resultant act and not the intention act. And you have to officiate on the intention act. So to Kelly's point, Cade's getting a lot of extra bad press because of how bad it looked, because it's a highlight reel. But if it's not a highlight reel, we've seen a lot of guys do that. I mean, look, to the original question, I mean, you saw Bobby and JD turning each other on the straightaway. Like, I personally don't remember the top level of super late model racing that way. So one of my questions is, in cup racing, they talk about they're rougher now because of the aero. The aero makes it so hard to pass that making a pass is so much more work that you tend to drive harder to make it happen or protect it. Do you think these guys are doing the same thing?
100%. 100%. And Bobby was, going back to the north-south that you mentioned there, Bobby was very candid in saying that he felt like he needed to get to the lead as fast as he could. Once he had gotten to the point he knew his tires were good, he wanted to get to the lead, because you don't know if the racetrack will change and if it will take rubber, or, I mean, you just don't know. It's a 100-lap race. And obviously, right there towards the end, it came, got a little dominant there. And so I understand why he was in such a hurry to get to the lead, I think. So I don't know. They're racing for $75,000. Sometimes you're just not going to be patient as you would be if you were racing for 10. So I certainly understand it, but I believe that's absolutely the case. Aero has made it harder to pass, and so the traditional types of passes that we had in dirt late models have fallen by the wayside. You have to make the pass however you can now, and a lot of that is diming in the corner and making a slide job, or sometimes throwing a little paint.
Yeah. So to kind of wrap this up, are there any solutions? Does this expert panel have any ideas about how we try to, is this a good thing or a bad thing?
It's entertainment. That's what we're there for. Let it go.
Yeah,
I mean,
this has been going on. I mean, go back to Bristol and Dale Earnhardt, Terry Labonte. You go to the old Riverside, Davey Allison and Ricky Rudd. I mean, this has been going on for forever, and and it was like Jason said, it's what puts butts in the stands. You can look at that one of two ways, fortunately or unfortunately. Rivalries are good for racing. There's no doubt about rivalries being good for racing, and when you used to go to your local track, it was, oh, he's here, I wonder if the other one's going to show up now. Mm-hmm. And then it was, when they both were there, it was like, okay, it's going to happen tonight. So that's a good thing.
We were all four standing in that infield. There was no question that place erupted during that exchange. that entire exchange. Everybody was on their feet. And I promise you, Josh King's going to have to install more grandstands next year for that reason. That is, they've done a fantastic job at Florence, with what they've done with the track surface and making it. Josh understands what he needs to do to have that. And I think, as Greg said, I think rivalries are great for the sport. And I think our racing product right now is as good as it's been in my lifetime. Given the fact that we have the aero stuff that we have and all the different things that happen, tires are so different now, everything's so different, but we still get some of the best racing, some of the best shows in dirt late models of any sport in the country. So, if you are worried about trading paint or whatever, maybe you need to watch Formula One. Where you're not, where it's illegal.
That's coming from the F1 super fan.
Yeah,
right.
I am a super fan of Formula One, but I also know that they have rules that preclude you from touching each other, not just racing not just running over each other, but from touching each other. So it's we got
the racing's boring.
Well,
sorry.
Again, a lot of Formula One's politics, so and understanding the stories of it. I think
it's just different. We love it all, Jason. It's different. And you guys know, like racetrack engineering has supported a lot.
I know.
We've made our money.
It's just not side by side. It's just
a lot of series are like that, and it's just different. But to
right.
Kelly's point, we're not that way.
We're not going to get into whether F1's entertaining or not. That'll be a whole other show.
Yeah, we don't have enough time for that. Well, okay.
So if you want to watch trade and paint, though, you can go to a motocross race.
Yeah,
well, they'll trade some paint.
So in the end, I guess the answer of the question is we like where it's at. It's not too soft, and we think it's a good thing. That's the summation of that's the results of qualifying.
Sure,
I think so. Yeah, I think that's from a 3,000 foot view, I think that's where it is. Obviously, you always want to get better, but I think that's right now we're in a good place. We just need to, everybody needs to keep focus on that.
Yeah,
and understand.
Well, and I know that we're all you guys are pretty dirt late model centric, but I mean the Kyle Larson David Gravel thing is, I mean, they talk about clicks and views, right? Like it's a great rivalry and on the racetrack, not just on Twitter,
Yeah.
So
I'll concur. Those guys maybe do a better job than our guys do in dirt late models with leaning into that stuff. Gravel absolutely leans into every bit of it. I think there's about 30% of his actual personality in those tweets, and the rest of it is, trolling, leaning into the people that hate him and selling T-shirts and putting people in the stands. And our guys are getting better at that. Some of them are a little more reserved and don't do it as well, but they're starting to get there. They're starting to lean into it. They had a couple of good passes back and forth on X.
Yeah. Well, and I'll say this too. I think that the high limit World of Outlaw sort of rivalry has sort of become friendly state. I think they both found their steady ground. Gravel might hold a little bit of a grudge there. That might be part of the reason. But it's interesting that Lucas and the World of Outlaw late model guys don't tend to do that per se. But right. the sprint car guys definitely do. So anyway, sorry, I belabored the point. We can roll out a qualifying, buddy.
Yeah, we need to roll on to our A main topic because I got a feeling we might get hung up on it a little bit. Keep in mind this Mr. Racetrack Engineering there, this was his suggestion for a topic, but certainly something that's near and dear to my heart with my Monday through Friday or whatever the hell it is that I have job. So
you don't work weekends?
Yeah, unfortunately I do. But our A main topic is how safe is your racetrack? And that's from every perspective, not just as a racer, but as a fan, as a crew guy. How safe are you when you are at the racetrack? Is that something that you're looking at and know that you're in a safe place? So Dave, we're going to let you start off.
I was thinking I should go last because I don't want to take all 15
Well,
minutes
if
here.
if that's what you want to do, we can do that. Greg?
Yeah, let's do that. I'll go last. You guys go first.
Yeah, I mean, we've bounced this around a bunch amongst the four of us in our wonderful text thread that we have. As soon as we see something, we'll find the video clip, pass it along. The Stuart Friesen one was a big one that we did. We even slowed that thing way down and had still shots, and thank goodness for Jason had a contact there. We were able to discuss whether the seat came loose or didn't go. There's a lot of things that we went into about that wreck, and it's unfortunate because it's always going to be as safe as you think you are. It's until something happens that you realize you're not as safe as you think. There's always going to be something that happens eventually that questions the safety of something. And I remember, again, you still see it a lot, that the camera guys will stand right on the edge of racetrack. I mean, they are crazy. I mean, that's just absolutely insane in my eyes to do that. And then I think back of, well, that's exactly where I used to stand at my home track, was right in that corner and cars barreling down at me, and I mean, we had a stand. Kelly will remember this at Modoc. We had our own stand built right coming off of turn 2. I mean, if a car would have got 5 foot off the ground, it was going to kill us. I mean, it would have flown right at us. But you hope and you pray. I mean, we've all seen the tracks that don't have the right fire extinguishers. We've seen the tracks that don't have the ambulance crew there. Those are just stupid things. I know Dave's big pet peeve on this one is pit openings. Where how do you get on and off the racetrack? How safe is that? A lot of them are protected by water barrels or something else. And
Nothing.
Dave's big thing is you can kind of convex that thing a little bit, and that takes away some of that. And you get a dirt ramp built up on some of those things, and all of a sudden you're airborne and barrel rolling for 10 times down a racetrack that is not really, if you had it built the right way, you'd have slapped the wall. And we can always do more to improve. There's no doubt about that. That aspect of safety, I know Kelcar is huge into the safety aspect. I mean, we've seen some junk race cars in our days, Kelly. I mean, we've seen some things that people drive that, I mean, they might have tied themselves in with a dadgum cotton rope for a seatbelt. And that's the things you're trying to get away from. And
I think that's the real question, Mary, is it time to recognize the fact that we need to do better?
Oh yeah. I mean, and I think, and that's where I will give Kelcar his props here. He is continually looking to make, especially that 4-cylinder class that he does, continually looking to make that class safer and safer and safer. Listen, those guys are getting faster. They're not getting slower. So the faster they get, the more dangerous it becomes. And he is constantly, probably one of the few 4-cylinder series going, first of all. But I mean, he's got tech on those cars. I mean, he's checking for safety stuff too. And I applaud him for it. It is time. I mean, if you go to your racetrack, if you're a racetrack promoter or owner and you go to your racetrack and something happens and you don't try to improve it after it happens, there's something wrong with you.
That's the part that scares me, is I don't see people reacting the same way that I seem to be reacting. Babiak, you're on the West Coast, and the West Coast is sort of its own thing. Not good or bad, just it's its own thing. What's it like out there? What are you seeing out there? What do you think?
I think it's all pretty much the same, but Greg brought it up and you just mentioned it. To me, I think it's is the track safe enough? I'm going to just short answer is no. I think something always more can be done regardless of what the track is. But kind of what gets me is we're very much reactive instead of proactive. So we wait for something to happen, go, oh shit, we should have done that. And that's better than not doing anything. But hopefully if it happens at another track, you can say, oh crap, this could happen at our track. So react at your facility not just wait for it to happen at your facility. So that's a big thing. But obviously, I work a lot on the safety side. Obviously, yeah, Stuart Friesen was in our seat when he hit that wall. And yes, the seat actually came out. I believe he was transported to the hospital in his seat, and part of the roll cage was still attached to the seat. I'm not putting credit on us or anything like that, but I think Randy says this all the time. He's like, man, this is a dangerous sport regardless of what we do. So we can put the onus back on the driver. Go with the absolute. Go with a good, full containment seat. Go with good belts. Go with the fire suppression. Go with a good chassis. Because guess what? These guys are going to go race at a track regardless if there's an ambulance sitting out there or not. It's not going to happen to me, blah, blah, blah. It's not going to happen. So what they need to do is put the onus back on the racers. And, and that's kind of it. Obviously, Randy was a big proponent for the 39.2 seat, which is a 50G rated seat. And there's a lot of people like, you guys just want to sell more seats. It's like, no, it's a hell of a lot safer than, and these cars are going faster and stuff like that. So it wasn't about selling more seats. It was about putting the safety back on the driver. Obviously, let the tracks do what they need to do, but, make your shit as safe as you can.
Well, I think one of the things that has been my mantra, if you will, is I want to change every person's mindset. It's always, it can't happen to me. It can never happen to me. And I want them to think, what if it did happen to me? That's what I want them to think about is what if, what if I do wreck? What if a car does come into the grandstands? What happens if a car does catch on fire and it's fuel or oil? Those are the questions that every racer, every promoter, and every fan should be asking themselves. Obviously, from the fan standpoint, you're restricted on what you can do, but you can certainly do some things to protect yourself. Where you sit, things like that is certainly something to think about. But there are companies out there for racetrack promoters. There are companies and different folks. I've done it a little bit of it myself. That'll come out and do an assessment, a safety assessment type thing. And Dave and I have talked about this a little bit, but so it costs you a few $100s to have a safety assessment done to your racetrack, and it may cost you a few $1,000s to fix something to make it safer. But all of that is cheaper than a lawsuit or somebody's death.
Yeah. Have a big insurance claim and see how much it costs.
Yeah, I mean, there's racetracks already operate on a small margin, and people can believe whatever they want to. I know what those margins are. Sometimes they're great, but most of the times they're terrible. And nobody's getting rich in this sport. So one insurance claim, one big lawsuit where you're found to be negligent because you didn't do something that should have been done, that was, that is easily to prove that negligence. And you're more than likely going to be out of business, and hell, you may even lose everything you own, depending on how your insurance is, So, and your how you have your corporation or your LLC or whatever. So, you got to protect yourself as a promoter. You got to protect yourself as a driver, and you got to protect yourself as a fan. Just like I said, the only thing I keep thinking about is changing that mindset. That what if it happens to me? Not it will never happen to me.
I think that's a great summation, Kelcar. I just had a call yesterday with a new guy who's buying a racetrack, and he's going to put a bunch of money into it and really renovate it and turn it into a show place. And so obviously he's working with us, and we're going to help him kind of try to do that. But what we always say to guys like this is, look, for our road courses, there is an FIA standard, whether it's flag panels or barriers or tire barriers or whatever it is. There's an FIA standard. And do we run under FIA sanction in the United States? No. But what we recommend is if you build this to the FIA spec, at least as much as possible, if and when, heaven forbid, something happens, now you can go to the insurance company or you can sit in the courtroom and say, listen, we did everything we could do to make this as safe as possible on the global standard. And look, I know that every short track in America can't afford to do that. But for me, it's exactly what you said, Kelcar. It's a mindset. It's not about dollars and cents. It's about an initiative to want to do it better. I think there are a lot of people out there who want to do it better that just don't necessarily know how, and or look, man, we've been doing it this way for 30, 40, 50, 60, 70 years, and you don't necessarily change until there's a reason to have to change. But I will say this, I was at a racetrack recently this summer, and I noticed a blunt end. And so I went to the promoter and said, "Hey, man, like I have a tire barrier design. We've designed and built tire barriers for Formula One tracks. I can give you a design to put a tire pack there that will be incredibly efficient. You can get tires from the local junkyard. It's just a little bit of labor and very, very low cost, and it could make a huge difference." And he was super excited and open to hearing the thoughts and the ideas. And so, I never want to turn this podcast into a sales pitch for racetrack engineering and what we do. But look, man, if you see something and you just don't know what to do, reach out to somebody, reach out to Kelcar, reach out to me. But there are easy solutions to the majority of our problems. You just have to be willing to try to do better. That's all it takes, which is exactly what you said, Kelcar. Just look at things like, man, what if? How could I make this better? And that if everybody just thought that way, we could change racetracks. Babiak spends a ton of time on seats, and there are people that spend a ton of time on helmets and Hans devices and fire suits, but nobody's spending a lot of time on racetracks, and that's what we have to change. And I don't know, maybe it's this group that leads the revolution, but I think it's time to admit that we need to be better.
And along that same line too is, and Dave, you and I have talked about this, and I actually talked to Josh with my race pass because he has such a great platform for it. But one of the things that I'm championing, that's a tough word to say, is putting together, this racing official academy, that where there is some training for racing officials and promoters and it obviously we talked about broad ranges of things of different areas and aspects of the racetrack, but there are a few folks out there that are doing some safety training right now for racetracks, but just so few take part in that, and I know part of that's is cost and time and things like that, because a lot of folks are volunteers or very minimally paid at weekly tracks and things like that. But I definitely think it's one of the things that we really need to focus on. And listen, I hate me if you will. We shared that video. We talked about that fire that happened at the asphalt track with that car. There is zero excuse for that to happen ever anywhere.
That was horrible training or no training.
What happens if that driver's still in that race car?
We've seen it. I have those images in my head, and every time I see that, all I can think about is, thank God that guy's not on the race car. But
Exactly.
we've seen it where they are, and there was a fire just last week. I can't remember what I saw, but the guy literally got out in like 3 seconds or something, and he still had first and second degree burns on his face and hands. And
Yeah.
people don't understand, like, I mean, he was protected, but
Right.
still got seriously burned in 2 seconds. If it's 5 to 10 to 15, it's insurmountable. So
Right.
yeah, I let's take this as an initiative. Kelcar, we've started those round tables, and we've done a lot of stuff in the past. We have this racetrack syndicate idea that we want to start. Let's stay on me, and let's take this group and let's turn this into a positive.
Absolutely. I want to do shout out the difference, or the 360 of that, or I guess the 180 of that situation that happened to that asphalt track. If you look back at beginning of the year with Needmore and the Hunt the Front series, was at Needmore, and Brian Shirley's car caught on fire like it did. Yes, they didn't get the fire extinguished, but what they did with their proper fire extinguishers was kept the fire away from Brian to allow him time to orient himself and get out of the race car safely and get clear of the race car. Those guys did a great job doing that, and that's kind of again, that's the what if, and it happened, and they were prepared for it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
uh,
And I should clarify, Babiak, we were talking about that fire at that pavement track, and I want to say something that to offend those guys. We all have, everybody in this sport's passionate, right? Every short track you go to has a ton of people. They're wearing jeans and a t-shirt, and they're passionate. They just don't know better, and it's not their fault that they
No.
don't know better, right? Like,
Passion's not education.
I agreed, but what I'm saying is, I believe that a lot of those guys are willing to be trained, and it takes guys like us who have the experiences we have to go try to help them. Because if you're at XYZ racetrack in Podunk State, you just don't know until somebody tries to help. So, and I'll say, Calcar, those roundtables we've had, everybody I've ever talked to that attended one goes home feeling like they learned something. So I think the information's out there. We just got to do a better job of giving guys opportunity to learn.
Yep, 100%. Well, fellas, let's try to move on to our next segment, which is one of my favorite things that we started to do. It's our checkers or wreckers segment. We each have our own little statement we put out, and then we all go around round table style and decide if it's good or bad, if it's checkers or if it's wreckers. So the first one comes from our guy Greg down there in Augusta, Georgia. His is there are too many big paydays right now, which seems to be hurting car counts on the regional and smaller touring events, which is keeping us from having some of those head-to-head battles we like to have in our area. Babiak, checkers or wreckers?
Why do you got to go with me first? I would like to go yellow flag on this, but I'm gonna go wreckers. I definitely see what he's saying, and I agree with it. I just think that the big paydays help build the hype overall, which I think spills over into the lower classes and stuff like that. As long as those big purses are getting paid, I think that's a good thing. So
Dave?
maybe I missed the point. Maybe I missed the point, Greg, but I was hoping I didn't go first. So I'll go ahead.
I'm gonna say checkers. And the other part of the caveat is it's regional based, right? I live down here in the southeast now, and I see it. I mean, there are a ton of 10,000 to win races getting 18 cars, right? Like that's a problem.
But is 10,000 to win? Is that a big payday? Are we?
I mean, I came from sprint car racing. Shit, the national series are barely paying 10 grand to win, right?
Yeah.
I don't think the USAC races pay.
He should have put a number on this.
Yeah. But anyway, I definitely think that that it's a capitalism thing, and with streaming and everything else, I mean, look, we're seeing it. There's a ton of new series coming out, and it's all streaming driven. Everybody's looking for content, and I think we're starting to super saturate ourselves. I really absolutely do. So I'm checkers in the fact that I agree with him, but wreckers in the fact that I think it's bad.
Yep, I'll go next and say, as a regional promoter myself, that I'm gonna say checkers. It's certainly affected the number of larger scale money races in my region. Have hurt my ability to help not only for our benefit, but for those racetracks that need those regional shows that used to draw really big crowds and whatnot, but now there's some bias towards the monetary aspect of it. You know, from a 5,000 to win show versus a 20,000 to win show is hurting us. It's hurting car counts on our regional shows. People are, hey, I'm gonna save my stuff, my tires, and not put these laps on my engine, so I can go to the Lucas show next week because it's 25,000 to win or 40,000 to win or whatever. So we're having some of that happen for sure. So Greg, now you get to defend it.
Well, I mean, let's be honest. COVID started all of this. It all started then, where everything got its start, right? COVID. I just, used to, $10,000 race, you knew you were going to get 25 cars minimum. and you hope for 40, and you would see that 40 car count. I don't know if anybody's paid attention over at East Alabama. They ran, I think, either 5 or 6 $10,000 shows this year for super late models. I think the largest car count they had was 14. That's tough. That's tough.
Yeah, they had several nights of single digits.
And they paid the 10,000 to win. They paid the money. And that's
the top
that's
half
a
of the
race.
purse hurts. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean they're trying. I mean they did everything the right way, right? They offered the money. That was always the racers' complaint was, well, you don't pay enough money, you don't do this, you don't. That they did, and it hurt. And then I see some of these. I mean, gosh knows. I mean, Ray Cook series, Southern All Stars, Southern Thunder. A lot of these guys. I mean, they're 10,000 to win shows, 7,500 win shows. They're getting 15 to 20 cars at them. That's tough on that series. It's just a tough look. The promoter, the racetrack owner and promoter of that racetrack looks at that series and goes, "That's all you got for me." So it's one of industry wide. I just look at it as an industry thing. Like Dave said, it just hurts across the board that way. Are 75,000, 100,000 to win races good for the sport? Absolutely they are. But do you have to have, what are we up to? 13, 14 races paying 75 or more now? I mean,
sprint cars are the same way, right? 2 years
Yeah.
ago, the Kings Royal was the only
one.
6-digit purse, and they have like 12 of them this year.
Yeah.
And with the series split, you don't have all the cars.
That's what I said, and that's what
necessarily a good thing, because eventually the money runs out.
I mean, that's what we don't get. I mean, we don't get to see. For me, you pay 100,000 to win. We should have a combination of Lucas and World of Outlaws. I mean, we should get to see Bobby Pierce.
It should be Eldora level.
Right. We should see Bobby Pierce, Davenport, Thornton going at it. We should see the top 5, top 10. Really, we should see the top 25 late model drivers just going at it. And instead, last week we saw the 50,000 to win, Lucas race, and we had the Lucas cars, and then World Outlaws over here running, their car. So we didn't get to see that matchup that I think makes racing what it is. And, I just think we could cut back on, I hate to be the one that says this part, but, the 50,000 to win, cut it back to 30,000 to win and pay better through the field at that point to those guys, that are supporting your show, up and down that road.
Well, I don't want to belabor this because we're going to run out of time, but is that the problem? Are they all too top heavy, and is that why you're not getting the car counts? Because let's face it, 3 to 5 guys are going to win that money, and everybody else is running start money.
Correct. And I mean, we talked about this when we were all in Florence together. I mean, the Knoxville, what they pay to start that race? The sprint, the nationals, the Knoxville Nationals.
Yeah.
It
got $5 grand, $3 grand, $5 grand.
It was $5 grand, I think, to start.
I mean, it paid your pit pass money back to start the F main.
There you go. You everybody there made money. You did not come to that racetrack and leave without some kind of money in your hand.
And that's why they have F mains.
That's right. And so, can our sport do better? Can I come from the dirt late model side of things? So can we improve it there and do better in some of that, as far as, especially with these 100,000 to win, 75,000 to win races that we're getting, 40 cars at, those races should be getting 50, 60 cars, no problem. And if you're only going to get 40 cars, then you probably could cut that 100 or 75,000 down to 50,000 to win. You'd still get the same 40 cars, but yet you could spread that 25,000 out throughout the field. And I think it would help those guys out in the long run. So,
Kelcar, as a promoter perspective, do you think you talk to these guys and you find out why they come and don't come? Do guys look at, is that high dollar top line number a fan thing? Is it a competitor thing? Why are we throwing these? Is it just an ego thing from a promoter's perspective? Where's the balance in that?
Yeah, I think it's actually all of the above, to be honest with you. Um, you know, the last 5 or so years, racers have certainly been a lot more conscious about, what does ninth pay and what is start money, and uh, more so than ever. It used to be, they know what to win, and also to that point, most of the racing series have a standard purse, so a guy knows, hey, if it's a $10,000 show, it's paying X number to start. Um, so I think that's a lot of why dirt late model stuff leads with the winner's purse, and why it's those big winner purses that you see is kind of the the norm for the dirt late model advertising. It didn't used to be that way. I know for sprint cars you hardly ever saw what the winner's purse mentioned in advertisement. So yeah, I think it's a lot of that. I want to segue into the next one though, so we don't kill ourselves on time. But that'll actually is a good segue to Dave's checkers or wreckers. His is our dirt track delegation affiliate member, Trent Berry, Racing Dirt guy. He was on a podcast recently, and he said that he thinks the National Series streaming is actually keeping fans at home and away from their local racetracks, which is hurting those local racetracks. Greg, checkers or wreckers?
We talked about this a little bit before you were running a little behind, so the three of us kind of threw this around, and I'll mention this and I'll mention it again. And listen, I am a Trenton Berry homer. I love the guy. He is. I think he's an awesome guy. He's become a good friend through all of this too. But I told them, I said, he said that, but then he kind of went back and kind of circled back to, but his streaming service is down 20% as well. So I take things as a business person and I look, well, if racetracks are getting hurt by streaming, but streaming is down 20%, I think there's a bigger problem. And the bigger problem is, are people losing interest in racing in general? Have we just lost that? But we've also talked about this too. What are racetracks doing to put butts in the stands? Are they doing their job? There's more to it than throwing a TV ad out, 10,000 to win, 20,000 to win. What are you doing for the fan? What are you going to offer us? If you're offering, start money and everything else for the guys that people are coming to see, what are you offering those fans in return to come and spend their money for you? And it's all about a return on investment for everyone these days. What is my ROI? I mean, that's the big catchphrase, buzz phrase in the industry of business. But I know what Trenton's saying. I know what Trenton, because listen, I'm in an area where there is no racetrack. I mean, my closest racetrack is 2 hours away from me. So it's tough to work on a Saturday and then drive 2 hours.
If you give some money to Modoc, maybe you could get that guy to open up.
I don't know if I could or not. I wish he would, Ronnie. Ronnie must have more money than I got, because he's been sitting on that little jewel up there. It's going to be nice when he does it. It's going to be nice. So
you're wreckers. You disagree with Trenton?
I mean, I'm a yellow flag.
Come on.
I'm a yellow flag. I'm a yellow flag.
You jumped the cushion. You wrecked.
Move over.
Yeah, I do. No, I do.
Black flag.
I do disagree with Trenton. They don't use black flags anymore. I do disagree with Trenton on that one. I mean, he's my buddy, but I disagree with him because he, it's a double-edged sword. I mean, if you're going to tell me that it hurts racing attendance, but then you're telling me you're down on your numbers 20%, that's a problem all in of itself across the board. Not
you
just
raised your hand,
racetracks.
What were you going to say?
He uses the black flag.
I use the black flag.
Oh,
for the
pace
truck only. For the pace truck only.
Oh man. Yeah, no, I definitely agree, and I mostly because a lot of times some of the streaming services, we look at Flow or something like that. They got multi-cameras and side-by-side action and this and that. And you're sitting on your couch and you're right next to your bathroom, and the beer's cold. It's cheap. So that's kind of where I agree with Greg in the fact that we have to do something at that track to make it a fan experience. And that's the one thing is, I guess I want to say I'm a Chris Kearns homer, but I've worked for Chris for many, many years. And yeah, true. But Chris always says all the time, Wild West Shootout's not a race. We want it to be an experience. We want it to be a destination, a vacation, everything. We want to offer stuff. And I can tell you, we're working on some stuff for 2026. Chris is not afraid to spend money with the fans in focus. And we have some really cool stuff coming up based on that. But so basically I agree because I don't mind. I watch football all the time and everything like that, just because I can, if it's not a local race, I'm like, this is great. I can sit here and drink my own beer and watch a race. So we got to give something to get the fans to the track because, I got to drive and fight parking and the dust and the lines and the concessions and the back. No, give them a reason to be there. Then from there, I don't know how this all happens behind the scene, but definitely some type of profit sharing from the pay-per-view streaming services back to the track. So, hey, we're down 400 people, but hey, here's X amount of dollars. We made this much, you get X amount of dollars. I'm sure that some of that's going on. I don't know to what level, anything like that, but let's offset some of that fan count with the streaming service profits. So.
Yeah, I
Checkers.
think that's tough to do if you only get 20 viewers. But
Yeah.
I was at Texas Motor Speedway a few years back when they built that giant jumbotron, and the lady who was in charge of all that wrote a white paper, and she said the smartest thing I've ever heard. She said, we have to give the people at the racetrack an experience that they cannot get anywhere else, because NASCAR, right? Like it's the biggest TV audience in motor racing in the United States. So how do you get people to come to a NASCAR race? And it's a lot of work to go to a NASCAR race, and it's expensive. How do you, and so she said, you have to give them something at the racetrack they can't get at home. And to Jason's point, that some of these broadcasts have gotten so good. My dad's the world's biggest Indianapolis Colts fan and will never go to a game because he gets more information and is better served and entertained in his living room than he is at the game. And that's your point. So I'm 100% Checkers. I think that our society in general are becoming the haves and the have-nots, and I think we're seeing that in car racing. I think that the haves are continuing to succeed, and the have-nots are continuing to struggle. I think Trenton's comments are Lucas, World of Outlaws, High Limit, Chili Bowl, et cetera, at Wild West Shootout. Kearns will kill me if I don't put him in there. But I think even the USMTS and some of these regional series, they're kind of that B, and they're stuck in the middle. So I'm 100% Checkers. I thought that was a really, really profound observation by TB. He's a pretty smart guy.
Well, I'm gonna flounder a bit and say that I'm Checkers and Wreckers, simply because I do believe that race fans that are going to go to the racetrack are going to go to the racetrack because they want to be there. There's nothing for those fans. There's nothing that matches being there. I'll liken it to our experience at Florence. There is no TV race that I can watch at home that will give me the happiness and the joy that I had standing in that infield with my buddies watching the race and really enjoying myself.
That's because you won $150.
I was just going to say, didn't you win the pool?
He was first and second place.
Yeah. That was my comment, but
that was good. But if it would have cost me $150, I still would have had as good a time as. So that, and obviously, I think it ties into some of what you guys said too. Is that was an experience. We have that opportunity to go to that infield. Josh has been smart about that and made that a viewing area. So to your point about making it an experience, I'll never forget Mike Swims. Was a promoter for many years. Started the Have a Tampa Dirt Series and Dixie Speedway and Rome Speedway. I'll never forget him saying that every race that we have, we need to try to make sure it has a carnival-like atmosphere, that there's something else to do besides the race, because kids get bored and wives get bored. He also told me that all bathrooms had to be clean and tolerable and have doors and toilet paper and lights in them for women. And he was right. But I digress. But that carnival-like atmosphere is important. But there are certainly people that are more on the casual fan side, the people that don't really care as much about the experience of being there, that are staying home for sure. So I think it's both. And Trenton is a very smart guy. And I think that also is a little bit, there's pockets of the country where it's different. And there are racetracks in the country that's different. I promise you, Fairbury American Legion Speedway can have a cow race tomorrow. There'll be 2,000 people in the grandstands.
Calves.
But I will say that has become, because Matt Curl and Michael Rigsby have set a culture there, and they've invested in the town, and they've been invested in the facility being a part of everything in the town, so the town feels like it needs to be a part of everything at the facility. So yeah, checkers and wreckers for me.
That's cheating.
Yeah, I know. I'm sorry. Let's move on to the next one. Jason Babiak, our own West Coast rider over there. His take is the Wild West Shootouts return to the Copper State is set to take it to all new heights.
I mean, we can make this short. You guys are all checkers. I know that. But obviously, I'm biased here. My commute goes from 7 hours to 1 hour. I'm happy to be home. Facility has made giant strides. I'm excited to get out there in a month or two with Kearns for the Western World to check things out, work on some stuff. But and we have some really cool stuff. And to go back a little bit to what you said, Kelly, before with the carnival-like atmosphere, Kearns has looked into bringing a carnival into the Wild West Shootout. It is not very cheap. I actually have a carnival customer. I've talked with him. It is horribly expensive, but we have looked at it for the Wild West Shootout, and that is his mentality, is carnival atmosphere. But
I thought bringing your girlfriend was going to be the carnival.
Come on now. That's the barrel race. But yeah, we've got a lot of stuff going on. It's going to be badass. It's going to be good racing. Ton of stuff for the fans, paying a shit ton of money, $50,000 purse for race 1 and 6 for the late models. And if you're a race fan, hey, leave your camper there, because we close up shop on the 18th. We move out on the 19th. IMC Winter National moves in on the 19th. They drop the green flag for practice on the 20th. So if you want to come watch some racing, Central Arizona Raceway in January is the place to be.
Yeah,
Greg?
I'll go next. I'm 100% checkers. I think. Sorry, Greg, I stepped on you, but I think Chris Kearns Presents is one of the top promoters in the country right now. I think everybody did the best they could with Royal. Royal obviously has a beautiful facility out there, but just all the pieces didn't line up, and that's okay. But coming back to Arizona, I think, you're a remarkable marketer and promoter. Kearns is remarkable and promoter, and you guys just have a better opportunity in the Phoenix metro area because of the sheer number of race fans that are there, the snowbirds and whatever. So I'm stoked. I'm giving up a trip to Australia so I can come to Phoenix in January for the
And
Wild
it is one of our very few events where the four of us are together, so that's extra special as well. So
I mean, I don't care about you guys. I want to go to Australia. But yeah, no, 100% checkers.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Greg.
Is there room for the Mary's Home Furnishings hot pit?
Oh yeah, we're gonna make it awesome.
I mean, okay. Well, no. Let's be honest. I mean, one of the things for me, and I already told you, we talked about this in Florence too, is the first year, either second year, I think first year, second year, I came out to the Wild West Shootout when it was back at Arizona Speedway. The wonderful car auction is in Phoenix that weekend, and Kelcar scored us tickets to go. Me and him and Alton Wilson, we're all going to jump in the truck, and we had gotten as far as jumping in the truck, and somebody's phone rang, and we had a 2-hour conference call that kind of ended my day of going to buy a 1967 Camaro. But that might have been a good day that phone call took place, to be honest with you. But I told him up front.
We do
Yes,
overlap
we
again,
do.
just so you know.
We do, and we've talked about it. And I've told him, I said, listen, if I go, I'm buying a car. I'm just telling y'all up front, it's going to happen. I've grown up around auctions all my life, and the one thing my dad told me was, you never put your hand down at the auction, son. You always let them know you're there. And but yeah, going back, I mean, listen, Kearns is unbelievable. I mean, I've gotten to know him over the last 5-6 years through this, and love supporting his event because it is to me, it's probably one of the top 5 events there are. I mean, Eldora is in a class by itself. I mean, Eldora is Eldora, but after that we can start going down the list. Wild West Shootout's going to fall in there because of what he does. I mean, I see the work. I'm one of the lucky guys that gets to see behind the scenes of all the work that he puts into it. Those trophies. Just what he does for those trophies, handmade trophies. Yeah, and let me tell you, he is very meticulous about them too. I know I have to carry those things around for him. And
real quick, he mentioned something about some giant change for Victory Lane this year, and Greg Mary's not going to be happy with me. So I don't know what it is yet, but you were brought up in a discussion. So
just as long as Greg Mary gets his Trenton Berry interview, he's going to be all right.
Sure.
So Mary, your checkers on Arizona,
absolutely.
Right, buddy?
Absolutely.
What about you, Kelcar? That tower at Vado was pretty nice.
Yeah.
Man. Giving up that Vado tower might be, and the suite we have was pretty nice too.
Yeah.
If I have to stand outside, I'm not sure how I'm going to feel about this.
Yeah. Well, I do want to say, obviously, you said it earlier. Royal Jones has got an incredible facility. He has literally thought of every single thing, every amenity, every friction point, if you will, that a race fan could have there, and he's done all that and built a really incredible place. That being said, he understood that we just could not draw crowds there for whatever reason, and it's kind of dumbfounding, but obviously I'm checkers all the way. I'm happy to be back in Arizona. Obviously, this is my I think it'll be my 8th or 9th Wild West Shootout, working for Chris, and I'm really excited about getting back to Arizona. As much as anything, as it's a challenge to go to a new racetrack and to start over, I look forward to those kind of things, those kind of challenges to be efficient. And Matt and those guys went out there and toured the facility, and the one thing I said was, hey, get me pictures of this and this and this and this, so I can start looking ahead and discussing it with my team, because I'm really excited about getting out there, but I want to be prepared to be efficient. So checkers all the way. Excited to be with Chris. You guys mentioned the trophies. I also want to give Chris a shout out for how much he goes in for the sponsors of the event.
Yeah.
Obviously, the sponsors are very important, and every sponsor gets a gift, a really cool, personalized, branded gift every single year. I have a shelf full of them over here myself. So it's he does all the extra things, and cool to be a part of that. Obviously, Matt Curl is one of my great friends, so having him a part of the event, and Ben now as well, that's a huge thing for me. I feel like we have a whole big group of family that's going to be out there. So really excited. Like I said, good time out there. Arizona's going to be awesome. We're going to find a great steakhouse to go to, right, Greg?
We better.
I'm on it.
And I'm excited. So let me get to mine, and then we can get moving again. Mine is Bobby Pierce is on pace to become the greatest dirt late model driver of all time. Checkers or wreckers? Jason?
Checkers. And I think one of the cool things about him is he owns, manages, and runs that team. He's not driving for anybody but himself, and that kind of puts him in the Alan Kowicki league of, holy shit, this is a lot harder than it has to be. So, obviously he's very young, but what he's done to date, if he continues this pace and races another 10, 20, 25, 30 years, yeah, I don't think it's up for discussion.
Well, so I'll jump in here and go. That's one of my counter arguments. Is Bob Pierce? Bob and Bobby are obviously awesome together, right? Rumley and JD were awesome together. RTJ and the whatchamacallit car were good together, right? The SSI car or whatever it is. But so my question is, can Bobby maintain what he's done if and when the day comes that he doesn't have Bob on the sticks and on the wrenches? And I'm not taking anything away from Bobby. I'm
Correct.
just simply asking a question.
Oh yeah.
Right.
No, it.
As of right now, the stats that I've seen, you cannot. I went to his webpage and was like, holy shit, right? Like I'm checkers if and only if he can do this for another 15 years. And that's the question that yet to be remained. So
And that's
as
why,
of
yes,
today, yes.
on pace, yes.
On pace to become, yes. Go ahead, Mary.
I think absolutely checkers. You have a valid point of can he survive without Bob? And I've been fortunate enough to watch those two at the Wild West Shootout and how and Bobby takes it all in. I will tell you, as much success as that young man has had in racing and accomplished what he's accomplished, the days. I mean, I'm lucky to go pass out pizza with Jason on pizza day. If those guys are out there working, I mean, he is right there under the car with his dad, taking it all in and learning as much as he can. And that's what it's all about. He's not so big headed that he just walks away and lets everybody else do it all. I mean, you go by there, he's either participating or watching and asking questions about how to get it done. And I think it will define him later. That's for sure. But I think, I was always taught, and Kelcar has this on, I think, on his Facebook page, success looks an awful lot like hard work. And he puts in the hard work. He puts in that time. And I just think, again, go if you haven't, go look at his webpage, because his statistics are absolutely incredible at what he's doing. And he's doing it now. He's doing it on the national level. I mean, you tell me he has 50 summer national wins. Okay. I mean, not that the summer nationals is an easy task, but I mean, my gosh, he's winning 30 and 40 races a year against national talent week in and week out. And that's just crazy to me.
Well, and by comparison, Shannon Babb and Billy Moyer both have 101 wins on summer nationals, but they've been racing the summer nationals for 35 years. You know, so yeah, and they raced in the summer national days when there wasn't the type of competition that there is now.
Right.
So obviously, I'm going to defend it and say it's checkers, with a caveat. I certainly think that there are other people that are still in the conversation that are still active. Jimmy Owens is still active, and obviously he's had a magnificent career. Jonathan Davenport, again, incredible career, has won the Globe. He could be the first person to tie Billy Moyer and to take 6 this coming in a couple of weeks, But and Ricky Thornton Jr. could be in the conversation if we keep him in dirt late model racing. And I just am at this point, I'm not really sure if that's what Ricky's heart is. I know he loves doing the open wheel stuff a lot, the midgets, and I wouldn't be surprised to see him in a sprint car or have an opportunity at a sprint car at some point. So who knows, I mean, he's the kind of guy that could catch a NASCAR guy, put him in an asphalt truck or something, and his NASCAR career take off. So for that caveat, those caveats, I will say that it's checkers. I shared something with you guys, a stat thing that I have that is incredibly telling and interesting. It's a head-to-head comparison of Scott Bloomquist and Bobby Pierce at the same age and in their dirt late model career, and it's incredibly telling. There's a great piece that'll be coming out on Dirt, so I'm not gonna.
That's supposed to be a secret, buddy.
Yeah, I'm not gonna say anything about what those stats are, but
they're impressive.
It is
Yeah.
very impressive and incredible, and I hope everybody goes and watches that piece that Michael will be doing. So yeah,
Kelcar, to your point, Kelcar, about JD especially. I mean, listen, he's got a career. I mean, no doubt. I mean, his stats line up with anyone's at any time. The guy's an incredible talent.
Well, Jimmy Owens did too. When I was first coming around, Jimmy Owens won every damn race out there.
Everything there was. I mean, buddy, when that 20 car showed up, you were running for second. And but and that's the great thing I think about as we go through this, we've seen the greatest. We saw Moyer, we saw Bloomer, we're seeing JD, we saw Jimmy. I mean, we don't go back to guys before those guys. That's it. We start at Moyer and work out, and we've all had the pleasure of being able to watch these guys race, and it's ever changing of who's the greatest at the top of that list.
Yeah.
And I think that's what's one of the great things about for me in this sport is I get to see the greatest. I mean, either I've already seen him or I'm going to see, and then then it'll change after that. But it's awesome to watch.
Yep. And I also want to qualify it too and say Bobby's not there yet. He's not the greatest of all time yet.
Yeah.
By any means.
He's on pace to become.
Yes, he's on pace to become. He's got to put in that other 10, 15, 20, 25 years, because Scott Bloomquist and Billy Moyer did a lot of things, not just winning races. They also affected the landscape of racing, and they affected the rule book of racing. And so it's a body of work, and that's what you can't decide who's the best until you get to the end. You can't really do it in the middle. You got to, and I was worried about the recency bias, because he's been so good the last 2 or 3 years, that there is some recency bias maybe in that. But I really believe if he continues on this trajectory he's on, I don't know how he couldn't surpass those guys.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I would have thought recency bias too until I went to his webpage.
Right.
Hey, let's roll on into Victory Lane, and Babiak, Mary, I think we're all in agreement on what our Victory Lane is, right?
I am.
No, I got an extra one, but go ahead.
Oh, well, you do your extra one. Well, let's.
Yeah, you do your extra one, and then we'll put ours in.
All right, yeah, go ahead.
What is he reaching for?
Happy birthday, Randy LaJoy. 64 years old today.
The man, the myth, the legend.
And I agree with these two, but I'll let you guys say that.
Hey, am I still invited to the Randy dinner at PRI, or did I get bumped out of that?
It's your turn to buy. So, no, Tammy was just covering our tracks to make sure we have. But she made that for Friday, too, and we're Thursday with you. So I'll talk with her. You could text her and give her shit, but yeah.
That reminds me, I don't think I have reservations yet, so I'll work on that. But yeah, okay. The Mary and I and Babiak too. We all just want to give a shout out to our buddy Kelly Carlton, National Dirt Late Model Hall of Fame inductee, and he's the most humble guy that any of us have ever known. He's the guy that brought the four of us together. He's a great pal, a great friend, but he has given his entire life. I'm shaking my desk. He's given his entire life to this sport, and he doesn't take any credit. He's 1,000% selfless, and he deserves the accolades he got. And he spent his entire time thanking everyone else. And I think it's our time to thank him for contributing to our passion and our love and our friendships in this sport. So as guys who work in the sport, we don't get Hall of Fames. But you did, buddy, and we're so damn proud of you.
Yeah, buddy.
Thanks a lot. I mean, I had the pleasure. I've had the pleasure that you two probably didn't, and that he grew up the race directors in my area, so I got to see Kelly a lot. I didn't know Kelly. I tell him all the time. The thing I remember about Southern All Stars days with Kelly was Rusty on the front straightaway, playing the air guitar, as I call it, lining cars back up, stringing that hand across that thing, telling them, it was, I had the pleasure to meet Kelly not even at a race. I met him at a race, actually, but really spent my first time spending time with him was at a football game. And from that day forward, We just it's been good. But I mean, Dave's right. I mean, he has poured his heart, his soul, every ounce of energy that he has into the sport that we love. And thank you, buddy. Thank you so much.
For zero desire for accolades, 1,000% selfless to
None.
make the industry better.
Yep.
Kind of goes, Dave. What did you say at the Hall of Fame? There's two types of people.
Yeah, the people who are proud of themselves and the people who are proud of the people around them.
Yeah.
100%. That summarizes Kelly. So
kudos
Appreciate
to you,
that,
brother.
folks.
Well deserved honor.
Appreciate that, guys.
We get to ride the coattails of it.
that's
I
right.
know, right?
We get to ride the coattails of it.
Well,
I do
Yeah.
have one more shout out though, and this
Go
goes
ahead.
back to our Florence. This goes back to our Florence trip, and we need to give this guy a shout out. Shout out to Chris Kearns. We've mentioned him a few times here tonight, but we saw Chris in a totally different element in Florence, and that we got to go to. We were invited to his house. I think his wife invited us. I don't think Chris did.
I didn't know.
I
We
think-
invited ourselves. We just told him. We just told them they were hosting
Oh.
brunch. We were not
And,
invited at all.
listen.
I guarantee that.
Jolene did a wonderful job of hosting us and feeding us and taking care of us. But I'm going to tell you, if you know Chris Kearns and you haven't been to his house and gone down to that basement and seen the absolute one-of-a-kind collection of nostalgia of racing stuff, I mean, it is crazy.
And he's still buying stuff. He just
And
bought
still buying stuff. I saw that. He has no room left on any wall to display anything. It is displayed beautifully. It is one of the best collections you'll ever lay your eyes on. So if you know the guy and you haven't seen it, or if you halfway know him, it's worth the drive over to.
We'll give you his address. Just show up. It'll
Yeah,
be fun.
road to Eldora road to Eldora should have gone through there and got down and saw. Man, it is that noteworthy of stuff that he has down there. So, but the big thanks to Chris and Jolene for having us out and taking care of us that day. Beautiful, beautiful place, and just a great family.
Good call, Mary.
Sure. Fortunately, I didn't make it to breakfast. Anyway, I wish I could have. I regret that I wasn't able to be there. But
Selfless.
I actually do what?
Selfless. You're always dedicated to your craft, buddy. That's who you are.
So I actually have a couple too. First and foremost, everybody that came to Florence. Obviously, you guys were. It was really important and special to have you there. But all the others that came, and I appreciate jumping in at the last second. Travis was on baby watch there, afraid he was going to be having a baby, so he could have had to jump out of that. He sent me a really cool text message. I had some really cool text messages from people that were really neat to get. So really meant a lot to me. So everybody that did that, I really appreciate that. Secondly, I just wanted to mention the family of Roscoe Smith. He's a legend here in the Southeast Georgia, one of the first race car builders. Passed away recently. He's a National Dirt Late Model Hall of Famer. He's also the father of one of my close friends, Clint Smith. And just really wanted to shout out to them and let them know we're thinking about them, Clint and Clint's sister, Sandy. I know it's tough to lose her dad, and it was really unexpected. So just thinking of them and let everybody know how much we all appreciated Roscoe and what he contributed to the sport. We're sort of drawing towards the end here, so let's talk about our upcoming schedule. Jason Babiak, what you got planned, buddy?
Not a whole lot. Like I said, Chris is gonna be in town at Central Arizona Raceway for the Western World USAC 360 410 Championship. So Chris and I are going to spend the weekend at Central Arizona Raceway because they've been doing all that work and everything like that there. So we're going to get to see the facility pretty much as it will be when we pull in January. So I'm excited. I'm sure I'll get out there before, but we're going to get to see that facility in action with a national show. So that's going to be kind of where I'm at. Just kind of all focus on Wild West Shootout now for me moving forward.
Grego.
Man, y'all know where I'll be. Come on. It is football season.
Athens, baby.
That's it. I look forward
No race
to having,
cars.
I look forward to having my dirt track delegation buddies including our extra one in Trenton Berry. Actually, it's look forward to having Ashley with us at some point during the season, having and hosting y'all for the weekend. And but it's football season. I will be in Athens pulling for my dogs.
Did we firm up a date on that? Somebody send me the date so I can put that on my calendar.
It's the Texas game is when Kelcar's at
the Sonoya date.
Yeah,
Okay.
that is
So the game we'll be watching on the couch. We'll be watching on the
It
couch.
wasn't
Absolutely.
Texas, was it?
Yeah,
Texas
Seven-
Texas
Aren't
is
y'all
Texas is the Sonoa weekend. We
Yes.
talked about Thanksgiving weekend, but it was away.
Yeah, that's
Oh
Texas.
no,
Okay.
so we're
Playing
gonna
in
do
Atlanta.
we're gonna do Sonoya weekend.
And we're going to pray for rain. Sorry, Rick, but we're praying for rain.
Yeah. I don't have anything coming up. I got the Martinsville 300 in a couple weeks, which is a really cool event that I've been fortunate to work last year and this year. Martinsville's a special place. Clay Campbell is a really cool dude there at Martinsville. And my good buddy Chase Brashears is sort of taken that event under his wing, and we go there and support it with Racetrack Engineering. So excited to go back to Martinsville and then just finishing out this Cup season. Man, it was a busy summer with y'all, and it's nice to be back in Charlotte. But other than that, I just got to get back to work. There are a whole lot of people waiting on me, and I need to get to work. So
Good deal.
got to stop playing and go back to racing.
Well, it's hitting my busy stride here the next several weeks, so I don't think I have an off weekend until I'm off the first weekend of September, but after that I'm not off until Thanksgiving. So lots of racing coming up with Southern Thunder and SCDRA. I'm supposed to be at Dixie this weekend. Hopefully we'll find out what our weather looks like tomorrow. We're recording this on a Thursday night. So hopefully we'll be able to get a race in on Saturday at one of the most historic races on the planet, or race tracks on the planet, with at Dixie Speedway. That's about all I got going on. I was sorry I was late getting here. Got to go see my niece, my great niece, Elin, play volleyball. That was really exciting for me. It's the first opportunity I've got to see her. And if I do get rained out at Dixie this weekend, I'm probably going to be wherever the Fast 57, my great nephew, Luke Cooper, races at. They're trying to decide now where they're going. But that kind of does it for the schedule, and that's really all here from the Dirt Track Delegation for this episode. We make sure you follow us. We're actually on Facebook and X and Instagram, and love to have you as a friend or a follower. We hope
we're on X.
Yes, we are.
Oh,
I'm going to have to get one of those.
Yeah.
Can somebody send me a link?
Yeah.
X.com. No, yours is XXX.com.
No. Go to your safe browser.
It has gone down. It's
All
gone
right.
south now.
Let's
Sign
off. Sign off.
Make sure you're on that VPN, right?
That's right.
That's all, guys. Thanks for watching. We'll see you at the next one.
Peace out.